Asmodeus is a demon king linked to lust in Abrahamic mythology. In Vtube system, he is one of the 7 princes of hell, and the Lesser Key of Solomon describe him with 3 heads, a bull, a man, and a goat, which you can see that the game merged all of these elements together. He is best known from the Book of Tobit, where he becomes obsessed with the woman named Sarah. Every time her family arranged a marriage, Asmodeus would kill the grooms on the wedding night, and by the time the story starts, 7 men have already died. The curse ends when a traveler named Tobias, guided by a spirit, burned a fish heart and a liver on his wedding night. The smoke forces Asmodeus to flee, and the spirit binds him so he can't return. It's a story built around obsession, control, and distorted desire, which is exactly why Persona 5 used Asmodeus as the core inspiration behind Kamoshida. Azazel first appeared in the Hebrew Bible during the Day of Atonement ritual, where one goat is sacrificed to the Lord and another is sent for Azazel into the wilderness, carrying the people's sins away with it. In later Jewish tradition, especially in the story of the Watcher, Azazel becomes an angel who teaches human metalworking, weapons making, and ornamentation. This teaching, however, lead to corruption, and the Archangel reported on him. Because of this, Azazel is bound in the deserts until the final judgment. In Persona, he is associated with the sin of vanity. His role as a corrupting instructor parallels how Madarame misuses his craft and authority, taking credits for his student works, overworking them, and exploiting their talents to build a false image of himself. The ideas of ornamentation turned corrupt also line up pretty well with how he maintains appearance, fame, and beauty built entirely on deception. Bael appeared in medieval demonology, especially in Argoitia, as the first and highest ranked spirit in the Grimoire. He is called the king and commands 66 legions of demons. The text says he can grant invisibility to those who summon him, and his form shifts between heads of a man, a cat, and a toad. Kaneshiro Palace ruler form is a human fly, and there's a clear reason for it. Bael, Beelzebub, and Baal all comes from the same cultural roots, even though later demonology treats them as separate beings. Baal was originally a Canaanite title meaning lords, but over time it's become demonized, splitting into names like Bael and Beelzebub. That said, Beelzebub is the one known as Lord of the Flies, which directly explains Kaneshiro's appearance. In the game, Bael represents the sin of gluttony, and while gluttony is usually tied to Beelzebub in Vtube system, the developers likely used the name Bael so Beelzebub could remain available as a summonable persona in the compendium. The Sphinx appears in the myth of Oedipus as a creature sent to punish Thebes for its ancient offense. And because of this punishment, the city suffered under a plague, and the Sphinx blocked the main road, asking a single riddle. What walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 at noon, and 3 in the evenings? Anyone who fails to answer is killed, and many Thebans dies before Oedipus arrives. When he answered correctly, a human, the Sphinx destroyed herself, lifting the plague and allowing him to enter Thebes. In Persona 5, Futaba Palace is called the Pyramid of Wrath, and her cognition casts Wakaba in the form of a Sphinx. This reflects Futaba's belief that she deserved punishment, turning her mother into a wrathful guardian of the pyramid. The palace mirrors Oedipus' myth through its structure. The player must solve a series of riddle-like images sequences that reveal Futaba's past, and only after solving them can they reach the deepest part of the pyramids. The earliest references to Mammon appear in the New Testament, where Jesus contrasts the serving God with serving Mammon, meaning wealth treated as a rival master. In this context, Mammon is not a character but a force that dominates humans' priorities. Later Christian demonology turns this idea into figure associated with greed, portraying Mammon as the embodiment of hoarded wealth and the corrupting pool of material gain. In Persona 5, Mammon is paired with Okumura to represent the sin of greed. Okumura served money and stature in the same way as the New Testament describes serving Mammon, as a master that replaces principle and compassion. His treatment of employees as disposable labor, and even his willingness to arrange his daughter's marriage for political advantage, reflect Mammon's core theme, seeing human life only as fuel for economic gains. Leviathan appears in the Hebrew Bible as a massive sea serpent placed under God's control. In some, it represents chaotic forces restrained to show divine power over disorder. Isaiah later portrays as a twisting serpent that will be punished at the end of the days. Medieval demonology expands this into demonic role linked to envy, but this is classification rather than a narrative. Many later retelling add that Leviathan guarded the deepest gate of hell, where sea and underworld meet, and the soul consumed by envy fall into his domain. In Persona 5, Sae represents the sin of envy. After seeking promotion and recognition from the CU director, her cognition becomes fixated on capturing the Phantom Thief at any cost, leaving no room for fair judgment. Like the Leviathan of Job, described as a creature no human can restrain, Shadow Sae becomes unstoppable once her palace takes shapes. Her casino reflects this, a vast deceptive environment where rigged games and unseen depth mirror the overwhelming, drowning pool of envy-driven conviction. Samael appears in Jewish tradition as an angel associated with accusation, testing, and destruction. He takes role tied to divine judgment, including challenging human faith and carrying out decree that involves suffering or death. Later rabbinic writings portray him as the chief of harmful angels. In Persona 5, Shido is paired with Samael to represent the sin of pride rather than Lucifer, who filled that role in Binfield's classification. This again was slightly done to keep Lucifer available as a summonable persona. That said, Shido Palace is called the Ark of Elites, where he casts himself as the ultimate judge of Japan, deciding who is worthy of salvation and who is left to drown beneath him. Just as Samael acts as an accuser, Shido separates the powerful from the powerless, choosing only those who feed his pride to board his ark, while abandoning the rest to sink into the sea that surround it. The death of mementos represent the sin of Sloth, but unlike the other palaces, it is not shaped by a single ruler. Instead, it's created by the collective cognition of the people of Tokyo. In Christian thought, Sloth, also called Acedia, is more than laziness. It includes apathy, cowardice, regression, ignorance, and despair. A refusal to act, to question, or to take responsibility, even when action is needed. Acedia was traditionally described as neglecting one's moral duties and surrendering one's will. Persona 5 visualized this through how Tokyo responds to corruption. People tolerate abuse from figures like Kamoshidas and Madarame out of fear. They support Shido without question, even when evidence or his cruelty appear. When his crimes are revealed, they fall into despair rather than search for better leadership. They accept propaganda without thinking, and many fail to notice obvious distortion even as Yadabov merges mementos with the real world, until it is too late. The shadow and cognition inside mementos mirror this too. They willingly imprison themselves, choosing the comfort of obedience over the uncertainty of freedom. Together, these distortions form the palace of Sloth. If you like this video, you should check out this video in the same format next.